Tadej Pogacar there saying last year he did everything he could, but it's never been enough to win Milan-Sanremo. Nathan, he's won 3 of the 5 monuments. Why does this one keep eluding him?
Because it's not hard enough for him, I think, because he is definitely the strongest rider of his generation, the most versatile rider of his generation. But this race is super long, as I said before, but the concentration of difficulty is completely towards the final. It's difficult, but not too difficult. And a lot of riders are able to survive the first attack of Tadej Pogacar. Some are even able to match that attack, like Mathieu van der Poel did last year. Whenever somebody is able to match that attack, tactics are going to play a role. And then the race can go either way. If Mathieu decided to contribute with Pogacar, then they probably made it to the finish line together. It would have been a sprint of 2. Now he didn't help him. The group came back, so it's a whole different race then.
Tadej is so strong that he can make race wins look inevitable, and he can also dominate and dictate how races are ridden and essentially how they're won. He can't do this here, though.
He's trying. He tries every year. Like on the Cipressa, the climb before the Poggio, it's a longer and harder climb than what the Poggio is. And the last 2 years, he's really tried on there to split things up. But there's such a gap in between these climbs where it's on the coast, and there's not enough climbing on there to make it hard. And the groups will always probably come back together. And that's his... For me, that's his problem, because if it was closer together, he could attack earlier on the Cipressa and probably distance a lot of rivals. They wouldn't have that chance to come back. But I think there's around 15Ks, 11Ks in between those climbs. And for him, that's a chance for him to recover. But it's also a chance for all the sprinters to recover as well. So you can almost... For him, you can pinpoint exactly where he's going to attack, when he's going to attack. And for everyone else around him, they can say, the Cipressa, the climb before it, we can afford to drift back a little bit, go easy, because it'll probably come back together. So they only have to focus on that one point, where Tadej is very much focusing on that point and then letting his team try and make it harder for him. So as Nathan said, if you can follow the first attack of Tadej, then it becomes a tactical battle. But when there's more people involved in a tactical battle, it becomes increasingly hard to win, because there's one rider going this way, one rider doing that way, one rider doing this, whereas Tadej has got one job to do, and all eyes, sadly for him, are on that one move. So it becomes increasingly harder for him to win. And I think it's becoming increasingly harder for him to get away, because riders are changing the way they're training, they're adapting to races such as this. Attacks of Tadej, so it's for him. I don't think he can't win it, but it's going to be harder and harder and harder for him to win it, for sure.
We don't have a crystal ball, Nathan, but is this a race that he may eventually just have to let go? Do you think there's any way that he can win it, given the fact that, as you say, it's not necessarily hard enough for him to be able to make a difference?
I think he can definitely win it, and for me, the key to win it is his team. Like Adam was saying just before, the Cipressa is a climb coming just before the Poggio. There's 10 kilometers in between. But the Cipressa is hard enough if you can ride a very hard pace from the bottom to the top. Tadej Pogacar cannot do it by himself. He needs his team to do so. So his team needs to pace as fast as possible from the bottom to the top. And that's how you can put the sprinters, different teams, under pressure, and you can already distance them. Once he gets his teammates over the Cipressa towards the Poggio, they can again start riding a very, very fast pace on the Poggio, and then he can launch the decisive attack.
This is a big problem, though. This is from 2 years ago, what we're watching here, and this is what they exactly did, what Nathan was explaining. The one big risk with this is you can see how small that group is and how it's splitting. But after the Cipressa descent, Tadej will probably used up maybe all of his teammates, if not one. And with that 10 kilometres in between, he might be on his own, and he doesn't want to go all in on that effort because they've got a Cipressa coming up. The other teams then will look at it and say, they're going fast, stay with your leader, hold back, so they'll have strength in numbers. You come to the bottom of the climb, if Tadej was alone, there'd be one man against probably 5 teams, all with riders swapping off and going behind. So ultimately their leader would come into the Poggio fresher. So for him, it is really a case of, like Nathan said, the team is so important for him, but the one rider that he needs alongside him on the Poggio, that rider will be capable of winning himself, but he'll sacrifice it. So that's how high Tadej's stakes are, and that's the kind of rider he needs alongside him.